you make common mistakes like these in English? It's a 2 hours drive. We had a good time despite of the rain. He said me he was coming. All three sentences contain a super common mistake. But don't worry, today I am going to help you stop making these errors, 5 errors in total, and help you feel more confident in English. I need to tell you about something incredible. I have created a brand new, completely free ebook. It changes everything. 35 common mistakes English learners make and how to fix them. This powerful ebook will help you fix some of the most common errors English learners make immediately. Inside, you will find everything from today's lesson, plus 30 more mistakes that my teaching team and I have seen again and again. And yes, for now, I'm offering it to you for free. Just sign up to my mailing list using the link in the description or scan the QR code now. I'll send it straight to your inbox. It's genuinely one of the best resources I've ever created, and I can't wait for you to see it. Okay, let's begin with our 5 common mistakes. Number 1, can you spot the mistake in this sentence? It's a 2 hours drive. So that was sneaky of me because there are actually 2 mistakes. One is a basic mistake and the other is a more advanced mistake. Let's see if you can identify both. So 2 hours describes the drive. It's an adjective. Do we pluralize adjectives in English? 1 red apple, 2 reds apples? No, we don't. We do not pluralize adjectives in English. So we need to remove the S. Now, I understand that the number 2, or anything higher than 2, tricks your brain into adding an S. But stop. Resist the urge. Also, the second mistake is that we should have a hyphen, a little dash between 2 and hour. It's a 2 hour drive. So here are some similar mistakes my students have made in the past. That's a 5 minutes walk away. Incorrect. That's a 5 minute with the hyphen walk away. Let me show you another and you have a go at correcting it first, then I'll tell you the answer. We had a 3 weeks holiday in Spain. Lucky them, but it's not quite right. It should be a 3-week holiday in Spain with a hyphen. That sounds like my idea of heaven. Shall we try another? I've got a £50 note. Again, lucky them. I hardly ever see one of those. But it should be a £50 note. So remember, we don't pluralize an adjective when we describe things like duration, distance, or amount, no matter how high the number goes. Let's move on to mistake number 2, which is correct. Kyle enjoyed the holiday in spite of the rainy weather, or Kyle enjoyed the holiday despite of the rainy weather. Which one do you think? It is the first one. The first one is correct. It is in spite of or just despite with no of. So it should be despite the rainy weather. And notice that it's pronounced despite with the stress on the second syllable, not despite. Despite. Now, these expressions are used to say that something surprising happens or something surprising is true. In spite of is slightly more informal than despite. Another example. Despite being afraid of heights, Ravi still went skydiving. With in spite of, it would be in spite of being afraid of heights. If you would like to learn some patterns we use after despite and in spite of, I've included them in the PDF. Click on the link in the description box to download it for free, or if you like a QR code, scan that there. Another very common mistake I see is people writing in spite, all as one word. It is in space, spite, space, of. 3 separate words. Despite appears alone, just one word. Okay, I hope that's clear for you. Let's move on to our third common mistake. Can you spot it? She said me she was tired. So the mistake is using say me. We don't say somebody something. But how could we correct that sentence? Well, we could remove me. She said she was tired. Or we could change said to told and keep me. She told me she was tired. So we tend to say something, but tell somebody something. Now, I think you can correct this sentence. Have a go. He didn't say me where he was going. Okay, 2 options here. You could have he didn't say where he was going, or he didn't tell me where he was going. But what if we want to use a person with say? Like here, we said goodbye, everyone, before we left. What would we put in that gap? We would put to. We said goodbye to everyone before we left. We say something to somebody. What did you just say to me, for example? So some of the most common structures are say something, say who, what, where, and so on, and say something to somebody. I hope that's nice and clear. You'll have lots more to practice with in the PDF. Okay, number 4, win versus earn. So many of my students confuse these words, and I totally understand why. It might be because in your first language, there's only one word representing these 2 words in English. Let's take a look at a sentence. I want you to tell me which word is correct. She wins a good salary, or she earns a good salary. She earns a good salary is correct. My students tend to use win too often and seem to forget about earn. So, what is the difference? Well, we generally use win when we get something because of luck or in a competition. For example, Heather won £10 on the lottery, or we won first prize in the baking competition. We use earn when we get money from a job. Heather earns £30,000 a year as a teacher. Or we use it to say we make a profit from a business or investment. The company earned $4 million last year. Win and earn have more closely related meanings too. For example, win can mean to get something you want, particularly because of the effort you put in. You might win somebody's support, or you might win a contract in business. Kelly won a lot of support by promising lower taxes. Or we won the contract despite stiff competition. Remember, not despite of competition, despite competition. Now, we wouldn't tend to say earn in those sentences. Win collocates more strongly with support and a contract. But To earn can also mean to get something we deserve, although it sometimes collocates with different nouns. After running 20 kilometers, she definitely earned a rest, or the team earned the right to play in the final. Now, in those sentences, we wouldn't use win. Sometimes we can use win and earn with little or no difference in meaning, particularly with words like trust, respect, and reputation. Some examples: he won the respect of his colleagues with his brave speech. Won or earned would be fine there. Or Alex has earned a reputation for being reliable. Alex has won a reputation for being reliable would also be fine there. All right, let's move on to our final common mistake: mixing up to meet, to get to know, and to know. We will go through each meaning first. Let's start with to meet. To meet means to see or be introduced to someone for the first time. For example, I met my husband at a party. To get to know means to gradually become familiar with someone or something. For example, I got to know him over the next few months. To know means to be familiar with someone or something. I already knew his brother because he was in my class at school. So a common mistake I hear from my students when they're going or have been on holiday is, I met the culture. I knew the culture. We don't meet something in this context. And know is simply the wrong word choice here, as it sounds like you had complete knowledge of the culture. My students usually mean to say this: I got to know the culture. I gradually became more familiar with it. We could say, I met lots of new people and got to know the culture. I also hear my students saying things like this: I know him more and more. Here again, we would usually use get to know. I'm getting to know him. I'm getting to know him better. Those are the most natural ways to say that you're becoming more familiar with someone. Okay, those are our 5 common mistakes. It's now time to check what you've learnt with a quiz. There are 5 questions in total. I'll give you a few seconds to think, but use the pause button if you need more time. Number 1, choose the correct option. John, $40,000 a year working in a bank. Is it wins or earns? It should be earns. Remember, when we talk about the money we make at work, we use earn, not win. Okay, question 2. Is there a mistake in this sentence? If there is, correct it. Despite of wearing flip-flops, Lucy somehow managed to win the 3-legged race. A 3-legged race, it's when 2 people race together, but their inside legs are tied together, making 3 legs in total. Now, is there a mistake? Yes, there is a mistake. You could correct it in 2 ways. You could remove of, or you could use in spite instead of despite. Remember, we don't use of after despite. Okay, number 3. Choose the best option. Over time, you'll your colleagues better. Is it meet, get to know, or know? The best option here is get to know. And remember, this means become familiar with someone or something gradually over a period of time. Now, you could technically use know here, but it's less natural and it suggests the process is finished. Okay, question 4. Is there a mistake in this sentence? If there is, correct it. My school is a 10 minutes drive from here. Yep, there's a mistake. 2 mistakes. It should be a 10-minute drive with a hyphen between 10 and minute. Remember, 10-minute is a compound adjective, and we don't pluralize adjectives in English. Okay, finally, number 5. Do we need something in this gap? She didn't say anything. Me. Yep, we need to. She didn't say anything to me. We say something to someone. So, what was your total score out of 5? Let me know in the comments, and if you want to practice further, don't forget to download the PDF. The link's in the description box, or you can scan the QR code there. We go into lots more detail in the PDF, and I'll explain with more examples. I really hope you enjoyed this lesson. I hope you learned something. I will see you soon for the next one. Mwah!